Hello and welcome to day 24 of our 90 days data analytics series. Are you guys excited to see my face? I should just put my face in the one corner that I'm always putting it. Anyways, I'm excited to have you back. Today we are working on a real world project. I have drafted out a case scenario that we are going to use to answer some business question the way you are going to answer it if you were actually working with this company. We are basically working on a supply chain optimization project for a beauty product brand in the United States. But I have splitted this video into part 1 and part 2. For this project, we are going to go through the entire data analysis process that we explained in our theoretical class, which is ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. For the first part of the video, we are going to go through the ask, prepare, process, and analyze phase. Alright, and in the second part of the video, we'll do data visualization, share, and I'll show you how you can tell a story with the insights you gain with the data, as well as how you can give recommendations to the company you're working with. This series is taking longer than I expected, and you guys will not even believe that I hired a virtual assistant, but we were doing times 4 of the data I'm supposed to use if I was doing it myself. And YouTube is not even paying me yet. It's taking a lot of time and resources, but I'm so happy I'm able to help someone out there. And also we have people in the paid community where I am sending them daily challenge and also the post they can make on LinkedIn daily that will potentially attract recruiters to them. So if you are not in the paid community yet, check the link in the description to join now. Without wasting our time, let's get straight into the video. So like I said, we are working on a supply chain optimization project for Uniquexcel makeup products line, right? This is just like a background about the company. So Uniquexcel is a fast-growing fashion and beauty startup that specializes in makeup products such as skincare and hair care. As the brand scales its distribution across multiple cities in the United States, its operations have become more complex, relying on diverse suppliers, varied transportation modes, and fluctuating demand. The company recently collected internal supply chain data to identify inefficiencies in their inventory, shipping, and production process. Now, this is the problem that we are trying to solve. Despite high product demand, Uniquexcel has faced issues such as frequent stockouts, 1, rising shipping and manufacturing costs, 2, and customer dissatisfaction due to delivery delays and defective items, 3. So these are the major problems that Uniquexcel brand is currently facing. Their leadership wants to understand where the bottlenecks are happening, from supplier performance to route choices, so they can improve operational efficiencies and reduce costs, right? So now here comes the key business question that we will try to answer with this data set. So this file might be sent to you whenever you have a project. Maybe you are working with a client or you are working in a company. They might send you a file like this, or they might just call for a meeting in the company and you'd have to come up with something like this for yourself to work with. All right, so here are the key business question we need to answer. Which SKU are at risk of stockout based on low availability and high order quantity? We want SKU means stock keeping unit, and it's just like a unique identifier that they give to a product. We want to know which SKU, which products basically are at risk of stockout based on low availability and high order quantity. So this will help ensure the most in-demand items are always available, so we don't run out of the product that people are looking for. The second business question is which suppliers or transportation routes are causing the most delay or high cost. Another thing we want to know is, are high defect rates linked to specific suppliers? So the products that are bad, is it linked to a particular supplier or manufacturing lead time? And another question is, what is the profitability per product considering revenue, shipping, and manufacturing costs? So maybe we want to gain insight into like the top products that is giving us profits. And lastly, they want to see if there's a correlation between transportation mode and shipping costs. In our data analysis process, we talked about ask, prepare, process, analyze, share, and act. I hope you still remember. The first phase is the ask phase. The ask phase is you reading through the case study, right, and trying to understand what you are being asked. So these are the key business questions. This is the problem. Do you think you understand every business question you are being asked to answer? All right. For example, when I said SKU, I saw SKU here. I had to research what SKU is. So that is the process of ask phase. You want to know, you want to have an idea of what everything SKU means, stock keeping units, and it is like a unique identifier for each product. Imagine you did not research that. You might just be wondering. Don't just assume. All right. So this is what you do in the ask phase. You can ask questions. You can ask your stakeholders questions like, oh, what do you mean by SKU? Or you do the research yourself just to understand the question or the problem you're trying to solve. And if you don't understand it, you can pause the video, read through it again until you understand. If you have any question, make sure you ask your stakeholder when you're working on a real project, so that when you are done with the project, you won't realize that you've not even answered any of the business question that they asked you. You've only been assuming all along. In the prepare phase, what do? You get the data set. For unique Excel makeup products now, we don't need to get a secondary data set. We just need to get a data set that their company owns, right? Because they want us to gain insight into their supply chain for their own company, right? It's not like they want to compare what the competitor is doing together with their own. No. So the next step is to have access to the data set. The clients that gave you the project will also give you the data set that you are working with. And if they haven't, you can ask them for access to their database. So let's assume that the client just sent us the data set we are working with. In the prepare phase, aside getting the data set, you also want to familiarize yourself with what the data set structure, how is it arranged, what does each column means. You want to understand it. Okay, so now we can see that we have different product type. We have hair, we have skincare. We have just two product type for this Unique Excel company. Then we have the SKU, that's the stock keeping unit, a unique identifier for each product. We have the price for the product. We have availability, that's like the quantity that is available for the product. We have the number that we've already sold, like so far. We have the revenue generated. We have the lead time. That means that how many days did it take to produce that particular product. We have the order quantity, shipping time. We have the carrier, shipping carriers. We have the shipping cost, right? Then the supplier name, the location, the lead time for the supplier, right? We have the production volume, the manufacturing lead time, manufacturing cost, inspection results. We have different columns, right? The defect rate, the transportation mode, route, cost, and so on and so forth. Now you want to get familiar with the columns and see if the available data can answer your business question. Next, we want to move to the process phase. What do we do in the process phase? The process phase is where we clean the data. So first of all, I like to remove duplicates first when I start my data cleaning. So let's highlight the entire data set. I'm using the shortcut key, Control Shift, right arrow key, and down arrow key. Go to the data tab. In the data tab, you're going to see remove duplicate. So I'll click on it. I want to check for duplicate across the entire column. Okay. Can you see that it found 19 duplicates, which could have messed up our whole analysis if we did not remove it. So I'll just say, okay, now that we've removed duplicates, our data looks better. The next data cleaning phase I go through after removing the duplicate is to check for null values. I can click the drop down button beside each column to inspect if there are blanks. Can you see that we have blanks here, and we even have a category for NaN that is not known, non-value. So let me deselect all and check the blanks. Okay, it looks like the blank does not even have data sets across all columns. So I'm just gonna delete it. Just right click on the one that is showing blue line here, right? Just right click and delete rows. Okay, so now that I've deleted rows, can you see that I no longer have blanks? All right. So let me check for what is in this NaN. You can see that we have NAN as category. Maybe the products that they cannot really put into any type. They don't know whether it's skincare or hair care. I can either leave it as NAN or I can change it to unknown. Let me change it to unknown. So now I can select this column, press Ctrl H, and I want to look for NAN and replace it with what? I can replace it with unknown. This is optional. So I can so we made 12 replacements, then I'll close. All right. So as you can see now, we have replaced it. And if we come here, it's just hair care, skincare, and the ones that we don't know. So let's select everything back so we can see our entire data. So we want to check the rest of the columns one after the other to see if we have null values. Okay, so right here in the shipping carrier, you can see that we also have NAN. Let's see what we have there. All right, shipping carriers, some of the products we ship, we don't know the carrier for that product. So it's represented as NAN. You can decide to change it to unknown if you want as well, or we can just leave it as NAN. You can also see that we have NAN for the supplier name. All right, we have supplier 1, supplier 2, and the suppliers we don't know. So we can decide to keep this unknown away when we are creating a pivot table or chart. I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So sometimes when you have NaN in your categorical column, right, we replace it with the mode. And I explained to you during the theoretical class that is the highest occurring category, right? So if we look for the mode in this particular column, let's try that. So I can use count if function to do that. Count if. So the range is this transportation mode. Okay, so let's go for road first. Close brackets and enter, and then you can press the enter key. So you can see that the number of times that we delivered a product by road is 153 times. Let me just expand it here. So all I'll do is just change this one from road to air. So air is 171 and rails. So let's just change this to rails as well. So rails is 149. So we used air more, right? So if you want to replace the values, you can just replace it with air because air has more frequency and the mode is the air category. The first business question says that which SKU are at risk of stockout based on availability and high order quantity. You know, you want to work with 3 columns. You want to work with the SKU column, we want to work with the availability column, we want to work with the order quantity column. So let's come back to the data set. So that means we are going to create a new column, right? This new column, we are going to say that if the order quantity column is greater than what is available. So that means that whatever the client ordered, if it's more than the units that we have in stock, then we are going to say it should tell us something like that is high risk. And if it is not more than it, then it can tell us moderate or maybe low risk. So let's create a column and call it stock out risk. This new column, we want to use the if statement. So let me come here to the formula bar to type. So I'll say equals to if, saying that if the order quantity, right, if the quantity the person ordered is more than what we have available, this availability, right? So I'm using the first row as an example. So if the order quantity is more than the availability, then comma, what is going to happen? What should it return if it is more than? If it is more than, then that means it is high risk. So I'll say it should tell us that it is high risk. All right. And if it is not more than, it should tell us moderate. Why am I typing this? So now you can see, okay, it auto-filled the entire column by itself. So you can see this one is moderate. That means that the quantity the person ordered is not more than, so for example, the quantity this person ordered is 39 and the availability is 46. So we have more available. So we can meet up with this person's order and even the next person's order. Quantity they ordered is 60 and what we have available is 11. So let's see what it will write for that. Can you see it wrote high risk? That means that we are at stock out risk already. We can even create a column that we can apply conditional formatting to. So whenever they check the table in the future, they can easily see based on the calculation or the functions we've added to see which one is at risk. So we can just subtract the availability minus the order quantity, right? availability minus order quantity. We can now apply conditional formatting. So the one that is available will be checked. The one that is not available would have this danger sign. So we can just highlight the column, come here, conditional formatting. Then we are going to use this. All right, so let's use the icon to represent it. Let's use this one. All right, so this one is just going to put it into category. So the one that is very much available is going to check it. So for example, this one is available, but it's almost finished. So it's adding exclamation to it. This one is minus 49. Minus 49 means that we cannot meet up with that order. So that's why it's showing this times icon. So we know that there's danger for this particular product. So that is how we can easily trace it out, all right? That we can remove these numbers if you don't want the number included. I taught you that one in our previous class where you just come here to manage rules. Click on this, edit the rules, and you check this show icon only. And that is it. And also, instead of using this, let me undo. We can also use data bars, right? Let's use green, red. Okay, so let me remove these numbers. Okay, sorry. Okay, so you can see, we can see which one is more at risk. So you can see all these ones, we still have them like very much available, but this one is at very, very high risk. So we can see the level for that product. So let's say my boss is asking me for the product SKU 42 to know whether it is at risk. Instead of me looking for the availability, looking for the other quantity, I can just come here and just see that, oh, we still have it like very much available. Do you understand? So these are some of the things that you can include in the data set. Could help the company easily understand the state of the product. And yeah, we just answered the first business question, that we ensure the most in-demand items are available, especially for top-selling products. So here they can see that the most in-demand are available. They can see the one that is not available, the one that is almost out of stock, and stuff like that from this stock out risk signs. All right. So let's move to the second business question. The second business question says that which suppliers or transportation routes are causing the most delay or high cost. We want to know the supplier or the route causing the most delay or high cost. All right, in our data set, to answer this question, we'll be using a pivot table. So let's just highlight the data set. All right, and then come here to insert, and then we'll insert a pivot table. Okay, so let's first try to gain insight into the transportation route that is causing the most delay or high cost before we go gain insight into the supplier. Okay, so now we want to see the route. So I'll come here to check for the column where we have route. So we have the route here, and then we are going to look for the shipping cost. All right, we want to know the route that is taking the most. So I'll change it to average because I want to know the average. All right, so let's sort it from largest to smallest. We can see that route A, let me hide this NAN value. I can just uncheck it out here. All right, so we can see that route A has the most average shipping cost, right? And route B is going to cost us the least shipping cost. So if you want to be cost efficient, then we may want to consider using route B often because it gives us the least average shipping cost. Okay, so you can create another. Let me remove this grand total. I won't be needing it. Let's copy this and just create another pivot table. So we want to gain insight into the route by the lead time. Okay, so let's look for lead times right here. And I'm gonna do the average as well. Okay, so let's arrange this. Sort largest to smallest. We can see that route C is taking more time. If we take route C, anytime we take route C, the order is delayed more. All right, but if we take route B, then it gets delivered faster. So it looks like route B is the cheapest and time-saving route that we should always take in our company. All right, so you can see the power of pivot table from this data set that we have here. We can quickly gain insight into some of these things. So we can just take note of this route B. These are some of the things you use in your presentation, conclusions, and recommendation. Okay, so now let's answer the actual business question that says which supplier or transportation route are causing the most delay or high cost. So now let's create another pivot table to answer that. Okay, so for this pivot table, we can just put the route here and check for the suppliers as well. So let me just check the supplier. So we can see the supplier name. For the supplier name, I want to check out the NAN. All right, let me remove the grand total here as well. Okay, so we can see the supplier, the different supplier name, the route they took together with the average lead time. Okay, so let's try to see which one is. So the business question says we should see transfer the most delay or high cost. So we want to see which supplier or transportation route is causing the most delay or high cost. All right, so in this scenario now, to see the one that is causing the most, this one is lead time, so we want to see the one that is taking the most time. So we can just use the max function to quickly get that out. So I'll do max and I'll highlight these numbers to know which one is the maximum. So we see that 18.78 is like the highest, and this is it. We can trace it to this point. All right, and we can see that supplier 4, if supplier 4 takes route C, then it's going to take more time. All right, so we can advise the company that supplier 4 should take route A. Anytime we have a product coming from supplier 4, they should take route A instead, or they can take route B. But taking route C will lead to more delivery time, like it will take more time to deliver. Another insight that we can gain from here is to check, okay, if supplier 1 also wants to send, what route should he take? We can see that route B is the best for supplier 1. For supplier 2, route B is also the best for supplier 2. For supplier 3, route A is the best. So this is how we gain insight into data that inform business decisions. Okay, so for this other pivot table I just created, instead of the lead time, let's try to do the shipping cost. Let's see for the shipping cost. Okay, so let me check that in. Let's do the average shipping cost. Let me come here, change it to average. Okay, so let's check for the maximum. We want to know which one is taking more of our money, which one is too expensive, right? So we know what to do about that. So we have the max at 6.09, which is right here, and you can see that that is supplier 1. If supplier 1 takes route A, then it costs us a lot of money, so we have to get a way to reduce that. So we can advise that supplier 1 takes route C instead. Okay, so that it will cost us less money that way, and we can gain insight into supplier 2 also. Which route should supplier 2 take that is more cheap, that will not cost us much? We can say that if supplier 2 takes route B, then it's not going to cost us much. We can also create a chart from this, but we've not gotten to the point of creating charts. I'm still showing us, we're still in the analysis phase. We're going to move to the visualization phase shortly. Okay, so let's move to the next business question that says that, are high defect rates linked to specific suppliers or manufacturing lead times? We want to know if high defect rate is linked to any supplier or it is linked to manufacturing lead times. Okay, so let's come back to our data set, and then we are going to create a pivot table to answer that business question. Okay, so let's remove this one. Okay, I think we need supplier for the question. We want to know if high defect rates by supplier. Okay, so we already have supplier right here. So let's check for the column where we have data on defect rates. Okay, right here. All right, so we can see, let me just arrange it. All right, so you can see that products from supplier 3 has a very high defect rate. This means that we have to reach out to supplier 3 to know why most of the products they are giving us has high defect rate, right? Let's do average defect rates instead. Okay, so the reason why I'm doing average instead of the sum is because if you do the sum of something, it's only going to calculate the total. And sometimes we might have like supplier 1 might send us products 50 times, and the other suppliers just send product two times. You know that if you calculate the sum for supplier 1 that sent us 50 times, it will definitely be more. We use the average. Average is going to do the sum by the frequency so that we can actually get which one has the actual defect rate. I hope you understand that. So now we can see that it's still supplier 1 that has the highest defect rate, right? And then we can just check in on supplier 1 to see why most products that supplier 1 is sending us has a very high defect rate. Let's also check for the manufacturing lead time that we want to gain insight into. Let's change it to average as well. Okay, now we can see that which supplier takes the most time is also supplier one, as you can see. So supplier one takes the most manufacturing lead time, and also the highest defect rate is also from supplier one. So we might decide to reach out to supplier one to know why this is happening, or we may decide to focus on the other suppliers that have less defect rate and they deliver very fast. All right, so the next business question says, what is the profitability per product considering revenue, shipping, and manufacturing cost? So we want to know the products that gave us the most profit. Okay, so let's go back to our data set. Okay, so we don't have anything on profit column in our data set. That means we have to create a new column for profits. And you can see when we talked about profits here, it's telling us that we should consider the revenue, the shipping, and the manufacturing cost. So that would be, the profit will be the revenue minus the manufacturing plus the shipping cost. So we'll calculate the total production fee, that's shipping plus manufacturing, minus the actual revenue will give us the profit. Say that equals to the revenue generated. Where is it? This is the revenue, then minus, I'm going to open up a bracket to calculate the total for the shipping cost. Where do we have the shipping cost? Okay, so this is the shipping cost plus, okay, this is it right here, and press this formula. Listen on. Okay, so I forgot to add the close parenthesis, so we can enter. So we can see that these are the profits for each of the products, right? So our pivot table. In our pivot table, I will not see the profit column here yet. So I'll just come somewhere on any of the pivot table to refresh. So once I refresh, you can see that we now have the profit column right here. So let me just duplicate this pivot table so I can answer the next business question from there. Okay, so we are trying to check for the products that gave us the most profit, right? So you can see that we have, is listing out all the products. So I want to sort the products. I want to know the top 10, all right? So this is the highest to the smallest. And right here, I can come here to add value label, value filter. Can you see it here? And then I can do top 10. So it can only show me top 10 by the profit. So you can see these are the products. So if we had represented the SKU by an actual product name, we could just use like VLOOKUP to check for the actual product name to know the exact products that gave us the most profit. We just answered that business question. Lastly, we want to know if there's a correlation between the transportation mode and the shipping cost. Okay, we want to know if there's a correlation between the transportation modes and the shipping costs. Okay, so this is the shipping cost right here. We can do average shipping cost. Okay, we can say that let's sort it from highest to, okay, so we can see that the air is taking, obviously we expect the air to be more expensive, so followed by the rail, followed by the road. So in case we want to go for a very cheaper option for the transportation mode, then we can use the road. So we have successfully answered all of the business question, generating new columns, creating these conditional formatting columns, and using pivot table to answer some of this business question. The next thing that we are going to do is to create charts from this pivot table. We are going to create charts, create dashboard, also give our reports. Our reports will include summary of our analysis, including the conclusion and the recommendation we give to the business based on the business question they asked us. But we are going to stop here for now. Or we are going to continue by creating the charts and the other things to finish up this project. I hope you enjoyed this class. If you're in the paid community, the data set will be available for you to practice with. And if you have any question, you can ask on the group as well.